Quit Your Job and Move to Key West by David Sloan and Chris Schultz. Chapter 3, Our First Quitters, A Brief History of Working Life in Key West. There's a picture. I'll feel right at home with those guys. As I've said many times, it's my favorite book of Key West. What's in a name? Unlike most cities, Key West has had many names, each with its own strange meaning. The first people to live and die in Key West were Native Americans. The first visitors to the island were Spaniards, looking for safe trade routes through the Straits of Florida. After a particularly nasty Indian massacre, the island was left littered with bones and soon became a sacred burial ground for the natives. They supposedly thought this was to be a magical place and the best place to spend your life after death. Hey, we wouldn't mind being buried here. That's actually in the book. That's not me speaking, but it's like the elephant burial graveyard. We all, as old people, go to Florida. The Spaniards, upon arrival, found bones everywhere and accordingly named the tiny spot of land Caya Hueso, that literally translates to Isle of Bones. Something wasn't too appealing about the name Bone Island, so as time went on, the Spanish term was corrupted. Cayo became Key, and Hueso became West. The name really has nothing to do with the fact that it is westernmost key in the island chain, although it is. Over the years, a few attempts were made to change the name to something more desirable. Thompson's Island and Allenton came close, but most of the people creating the navigational charts of the day stuck with Key West, which has remained the official name for more than a century. Unofficially, Key West has a number of names. Locals call Key West the Rock because, after all, it is simply one big rock. The term Conch Republic came into regular use after our secession from the United States in 1982. Don't worry, we surrendered and they took us back. Cayo Hueso is still used by our Spanish population, but most of us just call it home. Spend enough time and we're sure you will do the same. Little blurb at the bottom says, spare some change. The average panhandler in Key West makes more than $100 a day. So does the average waiter. Just little blurbs they have at the bottom of the page. Oh, I'm thinking about a new career. Nobody tips storytellers. Believe me, after thousands of hours of storytelling, no tips. Our first settlers and their new jobs. The first known visitor to Key West was Ponce de Leon. He discovered the island in 1513 during his search for the Fountain of Youth. It is believed neither he nor his crew ever came to shore due to the risk of jagged rocks and extremely difficult sailing conditions. Little did good old Ponce realize that Key West is probably the closest thing to the Fountain of Youth in existence. See, like me, I'm 300. For years, Key West was left to the pirates. The conditions it offered, including water shallow enough for their sloops, but too shallow for other boats to pursue them, an abundance of mangroves in which to hide, and close proximity to the major shipping channels were ideal. After raping and pillaging, they could also hide out here and take a break. Some didn't pillage, from what I've heard. As time passed, many ships wrecked, and the Native American tribe of Calusa Indians pretty much kept the island to themselves. Realizing what a treasure the land was, the United States government decided to come in and do its part. In the 1820s, the United States Navy came down to fight off the pirates. And soon, the first legitimate quitters arrived. Most of the Indians relocated, and those who were unfortunate enough to stay died from new diseases the quitters brought with them. In order to make a living, early settlers of the Keys had pineapple farms, and the fruit was considered a delicacy. The fishing industry started to boom, and a shark processing factory was launched in Big Pine Key. That's a tiny bit further north. Not far. Business was good, but there was no sense of adventure. Soon, a new industry was born. Another little blurb at the bottom. These little doohickeys at the bottom, which are awesome to read. Not cheap. The average two-bedroom home in Key West costs $700,000 and will be selling for even more by the time you read this. There's nothing under $1 million now in Key West if it's legitimate to actually live in. So, I don't remember when this was first published. Let me just see if I can do it quick. Let's see if I see it. If I don't, I'm moving on. 2003 to 2008. Located on a major shipping trade route with a conveniently treacherous reef, island residents were often called upon to rescue ships in distress. They thought as long as they were out there, they might as well make a living from it, and thus became the wreckers. The city thrived on salvaging goods from wrecked ships, so much so that some of the locals deliberately lured ships into the reef. Nobody knows what truly happened, but Key West soon became the wealthiest city per capita in the United States. This teeny island, wealthiest city in the United States. As Key West flourished, more people started moving here, bringing more money. Key Westers soon starting branching out, going into business and selling the goods that are famous today. Cigars. Cigar makers from Cuba established factories in Key West, and the industry thrived. Pretty soon, everyone had to have a Cuban cigar. The business was crippled after most of the factories were destroyed in the Great Fire. Talk about lighting up. And the manufacturers relocated to Tampa. Today, the smoke was cleared, and with the resurgence of the cigar as a status symbol, the industry is thriving here once again, although not with Cuban tobacco. But that's for a reason that maybe the book gets into a little bit. We'll see. Fishing. In 1949, shrimp were being harvested commercially here for the first time, and people found them shrimply delicious. The money they generated quickly earned from the nickname pink gold. Other delicacies pulled from the Keys waters included yellowtail snapper, still is, wahoo, grouper, dolphin, and more. Not real dolphin. Flipper was delicious, though, especially that tender meat around the blowhole. So good. And also the little baby dolphins, their little smile, the meat. All right. I'm out of control. Back to the book. Shrimpers continue to ply their trade in our offshore waters, and there are often more than 165 charter fishing boats in service. All right, little blurb at the bottom. Let's see what this one says. Welcome, Matt. More than 3 million people visit the Florida Keys every year. Probably you. Sponging. First off, we're talking sea sponges, not that tattered pink thing sitting by your kitchen sink. Though they are closely related, our warm, shallow waters create the ideal conditions for sea sponges. Key West spongers would free dive and collect the sponges for exportation. The industry thrived until Greek spongers, with the advantage of air tanks, picked the waters clean. The sponge was able to make a comeback, and now the unlucky ones end up by your kitchen sink, while the lucky ones end up in pretty rich people's claw-footed bathtubs. Military. The United States Navy, which had driven off the pirates a century earlier, came to the rescue again by turning Key West into a submarine base. This brought government money to build bases, and along with it came the submariners. Some say this was the first influx of the gay scene in Key West. Submariner bars started popping up everywhere. The joke went around town that if you send 100 men down in a sub, when they come back, you have 50 couples. Insert laugh here. Well, that's pretty funny, but probably fairly accurate. I was in the Army. I know about you Navy guys. Wink, wink, wink. The coming of tourism. In the 1930s, Key West went bankrupt due to the Depression, mismanagement, corrupt local government, crooks, and criminals, which is always normal here. Something had to be done, and though the U.S. government proposed moving everybody to the mainland, the officials of the island realized they had something no other place in the United States of America had: an island with great weather, sunshine, great fishing, incredible stories, and the possibility of anything happening. When things were summed up, it was decided that Key West would be marketed as a tourist destination. Henry Flagler built his impossible railroad that went to sea, and soon the wealthy tourists came to relax in the lap of luxury. Our reason to quit, number 52, I'd rather be fishing. We'll get to Henry Flagler shortly, I hope, because we are off of the mainland on a chain of islands that's only connected by teeny-weeny little bridges. That's the only way in, the only way out, unless you can swim 120 miles. And Henry Flagler built a railroad over the top of them all with his own money. All right, we'll carry on. Beautiful hotels were built. Bars flourished and the nightlife never ended. It was an untouched place, and the wealthy came to be surrounded by the enchantment of the isle. In the years that followed, the island experienced highs and lows in the economy. In the 1980s, tourism became the major industry, but remained mostly seasonal. Tourism has become a year-round market as more and more people discover the treasures the island offers. Key West today. Oh my God. All right, that's in here, but I just got to say, where's my Key West Today book? Not only, this is just the name of a paragraph, but I've got a book, Key West Today. I do a radio show called Key West Today. It's the Bucky Show. And a Facebook page called Key West Today with close to 63,000 followers for 13 years now. So Key West Today. I'll just go on. The island has gone through its share of changes. Instead of pirates cruising the waters, we have sunset sails. Instead of the Great Railroad, because it was destroyed by the Labor Day hurricane of 1935, we have the Conch Tour Train. The one thing Key West has kept is its mystery and the legendary feeling that you are in Never Never Land. You might not see a rum runner, but you can feel that they walked on your street and possibly drank in your house that you're staying in. The mystery and enchantment is why millions of people come here and why the lucky few of us live here. To this day, Key West attracts people from all over the world. The island has this magical way of getting people to drop their guard, let loose, and do things they would never normally do. Which we who live here do it a little too often, but not nearly as much as the people who visit. Our little thin blurb at the bottom, it says, oops, the southernmost point marker is not on the southernmost point. But probably the furthest southernmost you can get to. All right, we're still not done with this chapter. We got one more little thing to read, and then we'll be ready for the next one. Famous people who moved to Key West. So it's a little bit of a list. Key West's live and let live attitude has always been appealing to celebrities. Some famous people liked it so much that they decided to stay for a while. Here are a few of the better known ones. Ernest Hemingway, writer. Jimmy Buffett, singer, songwriter, author. Kelly McGillis, actress. I've got great pictures because me and Kelly used to get drunk. Harry Truman, President of the United States. Judy Blume, writer, still heavily involved here. Hunter S. Thompson, writer. Tennessee Williams, writer. And also, you know what? He's got some things that go on in the theater. Robert Frost, poet. Betty Page, sex symbol. Calvin Klein, designer. Jean Beauvoir, musician. Truman Capote, playwright. Thomas Edison, inventor. This is why you can see me right now, because of Thomas Edison. Hulk Hogan, wrestler. You should see him on a scooter. It's funny. Roy Scheider, actor. Divine, actor, actress, drag queen. Shel Silverstein, author, artist. And my favorite, Christopher Schultz and David Sloan, famous authors of this book. They are two of my Key West icon idols. Reason to quit, number 81. One more memo and I'll go postal. All right, that was chapter 3, I think. The next one is time for the test. Do you have what it takes to live in Key West? All right, that's that. Chapter 3. Hope you liked it. Make sure and subscribe to my Bucky channel. It's Story Time with Uncle Bucky. I think this is all on there too. And you get that $1 million check. All right, we're done.